Live. Welcome together again. Welcome, Morteza.
Yeah, hi. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Callisto Network is showing today the last part of this system of meetings, three meetings on Unreal Engine 4 and virtual reality applied uh, to our skyscraper projects. And brief recap what we have done last time. Morteza.
Okay, so in the last session, we've explained how to add a character. Actually, we didn't create the character from scratch. You can go ahead and learn it for yourself if you want to. Um, and we did create a camera, which we'll explain furthermore today. We explained a little bit of collision. We will get through it a little bit today again. We did explain, actually, we did show you the concept of HDRI and how to use it, texturing the environment using Bridge, and actually how to use Bridge and Epic Games Marketplace. After that, we've actually you've shown the audience how to create the Google Map meshes, which is an incredible ability to use in Unreal Engine 4. After that, we've created a landscape with materials coming from Bridge and starter content, which I've already shown you how to add to the project.
Mm-hmm.
We showed a little bit of landscape material blend and how to. Actually, there have been some links for you to use if you want to go in depth into the materials in landscape. We've explained type of lights. We've explained the difference between static and dynamic lighting, um, and how to bake the lighting. What's the difference between ray tracing and uh, the normal lighting in the engine, the real-time lighting?
Yeah,
How to enable GPU light mask, create. I mean, we've explained a lot in our last session. I mean, these are a lot.
it it was massive. It
Yeah,
was.
yeah. It's just not gonna end. Yeah,
Yeah,
so we've created some actors which will explain even more today because these are really important. These are like the basics for ArcViz if you want to have that creativity and how do you call it, if you want the meshes, if you want everything in the game to react to you, you should know this concept. So we will be explaining this today as well.
oh,
So yeah, that was our last session. Today, a recap of today will be, we are having some fixes, some further more information for you guys. We
beautiful.
are, yeah, we are going to explain an actor that I've created and debugged because we've no time to debug anything. We're running out of time all the time in here. And after that, we're gonna talk more about reflections and how to use different reflection captures in Unreal Engine 4. After that, we're going to first explain post processing. I mean, these are just concepts. These are not like codes, so it will be easy, not that hard. After that,
Good.
we're gonna go into the project settings and explain all the settings and how we can package the game, setting the whole project to get packaged. Packaging means exporting the project. So if you wanna have your project on the Windows, you're gonna export it, you're gonna package it, aka packaging, um, for Windows, and it will give you an .exe file, .exe file, so you can run it on Windows devices. And
Okay. And
after that, yeah, if I mean, I've already packaged my game, I've packaged the project, and it ran smoothly. I didn't face any errors or anything, but we're going to show you some normal practices about how to solve your problem if you got any. And after that, we're going to talk more about a little bit more about the size of the packaging. of the project. So yeah, here it is.
Here it is. Yes, it doesn't seem a little. It seems really a lot. Here we have shown previously the project as it is in its entirety. So it's a very big one. You can find in here. I'm sharing now the link, and of this whole skyscraper, we can share to the ones who will write to hello at calisode uh, .com. Yeah, joining the subscribing the newsletter, we can share the four starting floors of this skyscraper, and then all this, it comes up out of a dynamo sequence, and we are sharing with our followers and readers and viewers how to script all that. And yeah, it is that also from our YouTube channel. This is the video that we have seen, this one. And then scripting, we are at the third step now, how to script the whole structural system. It's something that it will take months to do. I mean, column by column, and we have instead scripted that and automated that. But I think it is now time for you to share your screen, and this is Morteza screen, and we go through the adding of the if you can zoom out, Morteza. We have talked about Google Maps, and we have imported quite a bit of land from Google Maps. You can write into the description how to import again. I will send another message here with the article, and we went through, and yeah, I sent to Morteza the package in FBX. It went good with the FBX in the end, right?
Yeah, FX was correct.
And Morteza did a final retouch in landscaping, directly in modeling inside the engine for the things that were nearer, because they were like a bit too many polygons, a bit too rough, right,
Yeah,
Morteza?
exactly. It was heavy. Actually, it is heavy. I didn't optimize it at all. But if you face any issues, I've already explained all the LOD stuff. So you can go ahead and
Yeah,
read out some of those triangles.
perfect. So let's start with your program.
So yeah, first of all, the first issue that we've ran into in our last session was because we couldn't have. Let me show you. We had a sun in here. I was explaining the sun, and I told you about the differences between static, stationary, and movable. And what I was missing is that in default, Unreal Engine has a system called Engine Scalability. So on default, it is set on Epic. You can go ahead and try Cinematic. It will get heavier, definitely, for sure. But right now, I'm working in a project, and it's for Android, and it was set to medium. So that was why we didn't have any shadows. Let me show you. So
It was kind of downscaling of the
yeah, yeah, this
complexity.
exactly. So this is the whole thing about it. Yeah, it was a
Hmm.
pretty ridiculous mistake. So this is just make sure that this is set to either epic or cinematic. This is really important. After that, I told you about the camera fixing. So let me um can you can you hear what I hear in my screen?
No.
All right, that's good. That's perfect. So as you can see, when the character breathes, the camera moves, so there is an animation into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it exactly goes like, let me show you real quick. As we've told you, we've shown you how to do it. Just make the follow camera a child of the mesh, and then go to the self, type yaw, and then check this one, and then into the follow camera, there's an option to use pawn control rotation. But what I had been missing out is that if you have the mesh completely hidden in game, there won't be, let me show you, there won't be any mesh to replicate the animation from. So there's nothing, there's no animation. So it's either you are having the mesh in his form, or you are changing the mesh, or what other option that you, let me see, that you will be having is that to make the engine render the mesh but changing the material. So the way we do that is, it gets a little bit complicated, but it's good to know a little bit of this stuff. So the way we do that is just, we are having a material in here. So what we're gonna do is just right click in the content browser,
Hmm.
create a new material. I'm just gonna call it test as always. And we want this material to not be rendered at all. So what we're gonna do is just go to the blend mode and change it to mask, and we have the opacity mask. So we can have a constant. I've already explained this all to you, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's compiled. So it means that the opacity mask is like a transparency. So if it's set to 0, it's gonna render nothing.
Hmm.
So what we're gonna do is that we've just created this, and the way we use it is just come here and select this one and this one. So right now it is having the animations, but no character, no weird character.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is how you can do it, how you can have no character and still use the animation from it. It has to be rendered in the game. I mean, all the information should be there, but the way to cross the system, the way to game the system is to create a material which is not rendered, pretty much. So this is the first thing that I wanted to point out. um the second thing was, showed you, let me show you here, maybe I all this, there are lots of things here. So let's click on the landscape. So this is the material that we've created together on our last session. I've
Yeah.
just made it a little bit more complex. It's nothing. As I told you, we are only using the layer blend, which we've explained all of this in our last session, and a distance blend using a layer. And I've explained this all. Just don't worry. Just go ahead and um, watch our last session to find out what these are if you don't know them yet. So we've created a material instance as I've explained it before. Um, okay, so what we are having is that uh, normally when you texture something, when you create a material for something, you have an error called tiling, repetitive tiling. So
Hmm.
there are plenty of solutions to it, but one of the solutions that I like really much is to create the system for blending it in a specified distance. So I've explained
Okay.
this all. I'm explaining it again because it didn't work last night. So in our last session. So I've just debugged it, and I want to show it now and explain it again how the system works. So um as you can see, it is right now there is no tiling in this material.
Yes.
So there are two materials that are blending together, and when the camera goes forward, it just blends backwards. So the way we can set this one out is just I've explained this also. You can create a scalar parameter in here. I've explained this much, and it is pretty much enough for you. And I've sent you a lot of links to cover all of this stuff.
What one question there? What is that? Um, I wonder. This blueprint with all of visual programming, is there
Mhm.
any way to export them and share with other users? So if you do one blueprint and you want to share with me, it's just an what do you do usually? Is there any format file where you can export this solution?
I mean, I'm no experienced in that. Let us
That
sit.
programming.
Yeah, let
If
us see together. Asset actions. Yeah, there is an export button, and it is Unreal Object Text or Unreal Object. Yeah, it's either a dot copy or dot t 3D.
okay, and this is the format for a whole the visual programming.
Yeah, let's try it together right now. Um,
Hmm.
we can export it to, I don't know, somewhere like so I have I have lots of folders in here. Again, test. I have a lot of test folders, you know.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and find our test folder. So what we have in here is just a copy, so we can just add it in here. And yeah, because it's I'm already having it, so let's just, I can't delete it, so let's do it with another. I mean, this is the whole point. This is the whole thing. If we are going to experience further more on it, we will be wasting time, really. So the only
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, the
But
where
this
was
is the way. This is
yeah
the
this
way to load and save experience.
yeah, just right click on it, asset actions, so export, and just you should
Good.
be able to find some more plugins to for some more options to export all the time. So for example,
Hmm.
if you wanna, I don't know, if you have an asset somewhere, if you have a mesh that you don't have the FVX file, you can just right click on it, asset action, and export it to pretty much whatever you want. And if you don't have the option that you're looking for, you can always look around in it for it in the internet and find some pretty good, decent plugins.
Okay.
So
Fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah. Anyways, so um, as you can see, it is for, let me put 0. So I've blended, as I'd shown you, I've blended two materials. One is rock and one is grass. So this is the scalar parameter for rock and grass, as I've shown you before.
Hmm.
So you can just this is the texture coordinate that we're having. This specifies how big the texture can be when it tiles
Hmm.
the whole system. So it will be like it multiplies on this number, and then this will be the whole UV, the whole tiling system for this texture. So this is pretty easy. This is the simplest concept that we could have used. So this is for grass, and we just, if we just, if you can say, I'm not sure if you are able to see that much because it's
A little
blending.
bit, yeah.
Yeah, so it is bigger than this side. So if we just go further, we can make it
Hmm.
smaller than this side, which is
Hmm.
not good for us. We want something smaller than this side, so we just avoid repetitive tiling. So I would say that this is good. So this is it. This is the whole blending thing.
It's marvelous. So, corresponding to your maximum closeness to the object,
Exactly.
you do level of detailing of the texture that is nice for you and not drawing too much resources from the graphic card.
Exactly. And this is actually pretty much an advanced material to make, but
Hmm.
because sometimes we will be using it, this is why we are explaining it right now. And actually, there are plenty of concepts, plenty of solutions for anything that could come to your mind. So if you are having a question about something, about an idea which you're not sure whether it is possible to do or not, just
Hmm.
Google it and you will most probably find something about it. Okay, next to the actor we've just created. So I've just created this actor. I had shown you how to create a blueprint class called
Hmm.
actor. So it's just a blueprint class and then select actor and then rename it whatever you want. I've just created one. So let's go to the code itself. So I'm just gonna show you here. If you just call this button simulation, simulate it all, it will
Hmm.
simulate the code, and you don't need to even play the game for yourself to see what's happening. You can simulate it and see the code itself as well to see what's happening. So the first one is, remember I was talking about material instancing. So
Yeah,
there are
last time.
times, yeah, there are times in ArcViz visualization where you want the user to be able to change whether a couch, whether a color on a wall, or I don't know, anything. I mean, these are all assets, these are all 3D meshes for us, right? So we have the ability to either change the mesh or change the material, or pretty much anything that you can see here. If you just select on the mesh itself, there is the details panel here, and uh, everything that you want to change, just uh, get it, drag it into the scene. And I don't know, maybe I want to change.
So this for us is the back end, but the user from the front end just clicking. There
Yeah,
is there any clicking possibility there in Unreal Engine?
yeah, we're not gonna go into depth in that side. I'm just
Just
because,
to know
yeah,
superficially.
yeah, there's a system called UI. I mean, it should be called UI. It is widgets. So right click, you have, where was it? User interface, widget blueprint. So if you just create a widget, this is something, this is like a 2D screen where you can put like buttons. Look, you can even add plugins. If you can't find whatever you
Hmm.
need in here, you can
Hmm.
find just an image. Maybe you can just search in Google something, and then you have the ability to, in here in brush under appearance, you have the ability to check in your image. I mean, or button is what we usually use. It's just like a button. So if the user uses this button, there's these are the events that could happen. So if the user presses on it or clicks on it or releases it, there are some times that when the user clicks on something, one
Yes,
event happens, and when they release it, some other event happens. So if you click on
it will be
plus
an
one,
event.
yeah, you have to create some code here. So I'd rather just suggest you to go in depth. I'm just here. I'm not gonna um
No,
uh
we're not gonna go in detail, but now we understand how it is. So
yeah,
with creating an event, you can have the event of changing the texture. So
exactly. And
you,
you have the ability to change anything you see here pretty much in the code while in the runtime, while in
mm,
playing mode. So if as I just showed you, so simulate physics, maybe now enable gravity. So maybe I just want to change that. Maybe I just type in enable gravity. Yes, set enable gravity. So you have the option to either check it or not. So it's that accessible. This is the whole point of view that I'm saying. So the first thing is just to change the material. So if we just
yes,
hit simulate, it takes some time because I've set it to take some time. So it changed material. So if I just show you the code, this is a code. This is a timer which runs every 4 seconds, which I have the ability to specify, and it's in looping. So it runs the code uh, from 4 seconds from now, and then it runs it again 4 seconds from that moment, and then it loops to the infinite. It just changes the mesh. So as I've shown you, you have the ability to change pretty much everything you see here. So you see the static mesh as well, right? So you have the ability to set the static mesh. You see the materials. You have the ability to um, change the material in here. So these are some things that are really useful in ArcViz. One of the so this is about changing the mesh, this actor that I've created, and this, I'm sorry, this is about changing the material, and this is about changing the mesh. So as you can see, it can easily change the mesh. So the way to do that, I mean, I don't want to go into the details, but if you just come here and you've pretty much specified a button for it, you just go to unpressed, and I mean, let's go in detail. Get actor from class. Yeah, get actor of class. So you have the ability to search for the actor that you are having. So I'm just gonna search dynamic instance, which is the name of my actor, which I've specified, and then you have the ability to search for this mesh, which is, it does have a pretty long name. What was it called? Modular stairs. So modular, or let's see what static mesh comes. Okay, so we are having these static meshes that we had back there. So we can just set this static mesh from here, from just pressing that button. But yeah, this is only to show you how possible it is. These are pretty complicated at first to understand. So I strongly recommend you to go and look for it yourselves, because if you want to use the system of changing the mesh and changing the materials, changing everything inside the game, you have to learn a little bit of coding.
Mm.
And
Visual coding.
yeah, exactly. And the material instancing that I was talking about the last time is, it's, yeah, it's not showing it here. Let us simulate in here. So yeah, it only changes the glossiness of the surface. So the code
Mm.
ticks every, I guess, 5 seconds, and then it's not like
Nice
setting it
effect.
instantly. Yeah, it's, and you can specify all this. You can specify the alpha in a time. Let me show you the whole thing. It's pretty easier to understand it all. So there's a node called timeline. You can specify the curve if you want to. You can either change
Sorry, this is the alpha curve.
yeah, exactly. This is the alpha curve for it. This comes to value. It goes from 0 to 1 in uh it goes from 1 to 0 because I've made it backwards. And
Okay.
then, yeah, I'm using this pretty much the same timeline for the other one. So once it just goes from 0 to 1, and the other one just goes backwards. And these are the things that I've already shown you. These are these scalar parameters. So in materials, you just specify, you hold S and click, and then you have this scalar parameter which is accessible from blueprints from the code itself. So you have the ability to change them all
Mm-hmm.
dynamically. Yeah, and this is it for this one. I guess we're going too fast now. Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's great. It means that we can catch all the things that we have to say.
Yeah,
So yeah.
exactly. Meanwhile, I've started on my other PC the Unreal Engine to try to catch up or to experiment while you are talking.
All right, that's
So
great.
yeah,
I mean,
so
it's
it's
always
fine.
yeah, it's always the best practice to have the video playing in the background, or maybe you could just pause it with hitting space and then doing the
Yeah.
exactly what the commentator is saying. It's like the most efficient practice to learn everything in Unreal Engine. Okay, so the next
Good.
subject is called reflection cubes. I mean, actually,
Yeah.
all the reflections. So I've already set up a kind of, let me just make it more apparent. Where was it? Okay, so we had a roughness, which in Revit users case, it was called glossiness. So I've just put it to 0, so there's no
Hmm.
roughness. It's like the maximum of glossiness. So if you can see, there is a reflection here, right? You can see it in here. So this
Yeah,
reflection is just a reflection on the screen that you're seeing in. And if you can see, there is a visual error in here. And when you just go down,
exactly.
and when you just go down, it all disappears. So this is called SSR, what they call it. It's screen space reflection. So the whole concept is that if the object is in the screen space reflection will duplicate the object's photo or the screen and copies it into the reflection capture. So it's like a fake reflection. If you are
Yeah,
not,
there's no artificial light or no direct light that is bumping there. Shouldn't
yeah,
be.
you can specify lots of things. So it's completely up to you. You are the designer, you are the god in here. You can create every fantasy world you would like.
Even
Or
unrealistic. It's
yeah,
not ray
unreal.
tracing.
Now you have the option to create everything you want if you know the concepts, because you have to learn all the concepts, right, to be able to
Hmm.
go for it. So this is pretty much the system. The default system. It's not for mobiles though. It's for,
Okay.
yeah, it is for high performance PCs. And this is what they call real time rendering reflection. So this has lots of glitches, lots of visual uncapabilities, I would say. So the way to fix it, I mean, the most normal way to fix it is to use reflection captures. So if you just put a reflection capture in the scene, it just I mean, it right now it is only guessing it. You can just go ahead and build reflection captures. And if we are not having the time in here to build the lighting, but if you come here and build the lighting, I've already explained this all. So if you don't know what we're talking about, you can
Hmm.
go to another video and catch up. You can build the lighting and the quality will raise drastically most of the time. So right now, what the reflection capture is doing is that it captures the whole screen. I mean, everything should be static. If an object is moving, it won't have any reflections other than screen space. And when you just don't look at them and just look at the ground beneath them,
Hmm.
they won't be reflecting any reflection underneath them. So
It's a kind
that,
of a absorber when you spill water on the kitchen and you put a rag on the water just to take out the water from.
yeah.
Kind of a very rough kitchen comparison, but yeah, it's kind of eraser somehow.
Yeah, this is the material. I'm just right now we're just testing. So this material is not realistic. We're just explaining the concept
Yeah.
of reflections. Yeah. Okay. So most of the time the way, I mean, this is all doable by the engine. You have the ability to change it all, whether it be in the
Hmm.
project settings or if you're a coder, if you know what you're doing, you have the
Yeah.
ability to change everything you want, because Unreal Engine is open source. And you I mean, that's dope. You have access to um change the source of the Unreal Engine itself. That's, I mean, that's unrealistic to me. So I mean, most of the time we don't even we don't even touch the source of the engine because it's just too complicated. There are too many variables, too many concepts that we don't even know.
Let me
So
ask you one concept. This that you dropped in
mhm.
this reflection capture, it has three vectors. Is this a vector per se, this
uh
object, so that it move basically if you move it, it change the effect
Yeah,
of
exactly.
it?
So yeah, so most of the times, I mean, this is a designer job to do it, but if you change the location, the reflection will change. So you have the
Okay.
option to change the radius as well. So if you just look at it, look at
Ah, I see
this,
it. I
yeah,
see it.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
It
it will just
doesn't.
affect
Hmm.
this place. Yeah. So you can have some of them. You can have one here. and one here.
Oh,
Maybe you can fill out the whole screen. Um, I mean, in ArcViz visualizations, the thing they do most of the time is that they put either a sphere reflection or a box reflection, which I'll get into shortly. And they have a location and rotation, which doesn't do anything. But yeah, this is it. If you just pay attention to the reflection, it changes. So you have to
yeah.
set it yourself and then hit. I mean, I don't want to. Oh, let's just make the.
That does it consume the diameter of this sphere? Does it consume engine renderization power? So,
Not that much. These are like textures. Like, I mean,
mm,
if when it comes to mobile, these things matter definitely. But in PCs, I mean, no, not that much. They're like some megabytes of RAM and hard. So it's like
okay,
nothing. Yeah, when you have like 16 gigabytes of RAM, like 10 megabytes is like nothing.
okay, okay.
So yeah. Um and the way the engine blends these two, when you see it right now, when you are watching, when the whole meshes are in the screen, the reflection is high quality. When you don't watch them, they should disappear, right? And they do disappear, but they will blend with the sphere reflection capture. So this is what the reflection capture is showing us, and this is the real time screen space reflection. So if you could, I mean, most of the times there will be some errors because the designers couldn't really they just can't set the location properly, because it's just a lot of try and error, because you have to uh, try to see the reflections from each angle to see whether they're correct, and or you need to change the location, or maybe you would want 10 of them, who knows. They're just like
Mm,
try and error, so you need to
okay.
set them correctly. And most of the time, if there's an error, doesn't really matter that much. If they match like 60%, 70%, that's good.
Mm,
um The next reflection is box reflection. So the way they do it, yeah, it's completely obvious. So the box reflection reflects the scene in a box manner, in a cube manner, but
mhm.
sphere reflection spheres everything. So it's like an HDRI exactly. It's in a sphere, but the
Mhm.
box reflection is a complete box. So if you just look at it, it doesn't have the curve that the sphere reflection has sometimes. I mean, sometimes, most of the times they don't differ that much. But it's up to you if you wanna set the reflection in some rooms that are really really square. So you might want to go with box reflection capture, and this
Oh,
does share the exact parameters that you can change. You can change the radius, I mean.
okay. Maybe when you want to affect just the floor and not the ceiling, or just some, uh, I can think about a table, a low table, and you don't want to affect the floor, so you do a very thin shoebox
Yeah, maybe
that
maybe
envelops all only that surface and not the rest. Can think about an example of that.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of variables. You are free to do whatever you want, actually. The other reflection concept I wanted to show you is called Plania Reflection, which is by default is off inside the engine, but what it does pretty much
What
is
is it?
it's a mirror completely. If you wanna, it has a hint here. So if you want Plania Reflection to work, just go and change this one and enable this one, global clip plane. So let's just global clip. Just check this one out, and it will compile lots of shaders for you. Then after that, you will have the option to use this one as a mirror. It shows a little bit what it does mean, but it's not accurate right now because it needs the global clip plane to work properly. It is a mirror, exactly. If you are having a mirror in your scene, you can place it, just you can set it, set the location and rotation and everything exactly based on the mirror, and then you will have a proper mirror. And if you are using ray tracing, you won't ever need any of these because ray tracing is like the real-time physical based reflections. So yeah,
Yeah,
we
of
yeah
course.
we've already explained how to enable ray tracing. If you have a very powerful GPU, then go ahead for it. You might It might help you. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is to talk about post processing. The first time that you are going to load every level, every pre-built level that comes from Epic Games, and most specifically, this ArcViz level, they, if you just search post,
Hmm.
there will be a post processing around here. I've already deleted it. I didn't want it actually, but post processing is a volume. Let me show you post process volume. So it is a post. I mean, you know what post processing is, right? It is a post processing.
From video,
Yeah,
and I think
exactly.
most of us refer to video when we think about I mean images like
Photoshop. Yeah,
Photoshop. Yeah, yeah. I think the first thing that we can think about is Photoshop. It's post
exactly.
processing an image.
Yeah, so you can scale it up,
Okay, and
or
this is the vector. Then the vector has properties in this post processing, which are like functions as in Photoshop, like blur. I can guess.
yeah, yeah, blur, exactly. So let me show you. This is a volume. I want to show you what volume is. So I just want to go in here, and I want to do something really, really weird about it.
Uh huh. Okay.
I mean, not that weird.
So this is
Oh,
a kind of contrast.
yeah, no, there are actually lots of things. Maybe I just go ahead and change the temperature. Yeah. So if
Okay,
we
color
are
temperature.
outside of the box, outside of the volume, it is normal. It is just rendering normal. If we go inside it, it changes. So this is what a volume means. If you
Mm.
go into it, that thing, the event that you want to happen will happen. If you get outside of it, that event will be ended or whatever you want. But this is a volume. This is like, as I've told you before, like a box collision or a trigger event or anything like that. If you enter, something happens, and you will be specifying that something. And it is saving right now. Okay. So, and we have the option in post processing volume. We have the option, if you just scroll all the way down here, you have the option to infinite extent. So if you do that, yeah.
Mm. Okay, the whole
So
project
yeah, the whole level will be affected by it. So we're just gonna
level.
go.
Okay.
We're just gonna go. So if you just click on post process volume, there's a details panel, and as always, this is for mobile. This won't work on PC. So bloom. Uh, this shininess is bloom. Let me show you. So if we just set it to 0, there's nothing. There are
Mhm.
like some emissive lights, like lights, actually sun, the artificial lights, any light, any material that is shiny, that when you just look at them, they'll just, they are so bright that they create this effect that is called bloom. So for something like a sun, we definitely need that, and we can have it even further, like extremely further. And I guess we have the option
Mm.
to put something like,
Okay, these flares, which
no,
gives a.
this, yeah, this is lens flare, this is something else. And
Okay.
you can have a threshold if you have set lots of lights with different intensities. Maybe you can have a threshold. When you play with them, you will understand how they work. But threshold is like uh, when, for example, sun, the emissive, I'm just making some examples here. Well, the emissive light for sun is 20, and the emissive light for my room's light is like 4. So anything more than 5 will have the bloom, and anything less than 5 will not have it. So the light in my room
Hmm.
won't have the bloom. So that's how it works.
Okay.
um, and we have some advanced options as well, which I've literally never used. I actually used, but many years ago. It didn't really work that well. We have the exposure. So exposure, let me show you what exposure is real quick. Oh, no. Oh, I just played it with mobile preview, so yeah.
Yeah, what does entails? Does it
Yeah.
entail the fact that you use with a mobile preview?
No, it's gonna crash on me, I guess. So I have to, yeah, because it has to compile all the shaders for previewing it for mobile, which we haven't set the project for, and it's compiling on my other screen. So I'm just gonna stop my sharing and then start
Okay.
Unreal Engine real quick. I have to close the Unreal Editor. Yeah, right now what I'm seeing here that it's using 100% CPU, 75% memory, and yeah,
How
so
much of GPU?
a GPU is not much. It's around 20. Oh, actually it got 100% and then got back. Well,
Okay, spike.
yeah, so we need to end this one as well. I just have to reboot the whole project. And that sometimes could happen too. So just try to focus on what you're clicking on. um, it's actually loading.
Okay, so you start the engine from the very beginning.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we got it now. We have everything. Okay, so let me share my screen again.
Okay, let me share your screen. Show screen. Yeah, here we are.
Okay, so let me show you what exposure is. Let me just
Hmm.
set this. Okay, so these are some options. Selected viewport will be playing the game in this viewport. New editor window is another window, but it is still related to UE4. Standalone game will try to compile the whole project, and then it will run the game as a separate exe file, and simulate will just run the whole code, whereas you're not playing in the game and you're just seeing the environment change if you have set any change. So it's just something for some kind of debug. We're just gonna selected viewport. So did you see how the light became normal from extremely white?
Hmm.
Exposure.
Getting in, you were getting out, in and out, or
Yes. Yeah, so it exactly behaves the same with the cameras. So it's completely the same. It is
What
exposure.
did it faded off? Is it because you moved in and out from the area? Is it because there is a timing in that
Uh,
effect? I
so
didn't get.
it reacts like our eyes. If you are in the house and when you go out, everything seems to be really bright, and when
Hmm.
after some seconds everything gets bright because your lens is getting smaller. So that's what is happening here right now.
Ah, eyes lens. Okay, okay, okay. So getting accustomed as it. Okay,
Exactly. So you have the
okay.
option. I can't find it here. Oh, here, exposure. So you have the option to change the exposure compensation. So it's like I've
Mm,
changed it right now, which is too much,
okay, there is pretty much.
and it gets darker in
Mm,
time. Yeah, this is the exposure. You have all the other options.
brilliant.
You have, I mean, I've never tried to memorize all the options because every time that I wanna change something, that I wanna use something, I just go ahead and try them all. Or I have the option to, when you wanna use V-Ray for rendering stuff, most of the times you don't set the options yourself. This is exactly the same when you want to use a post processing. There's this company called Quixel, which I've already mentioned their names because the bridge
Okay.
Quixel bridge is for them. They have lots of videos for post processing. So if you want to just
Let me Google them out. How it is again?
Quixel, so let me power.
Quixel. Ah, yes, yes, yes. Quixel bridge here. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Manage 3D content. Okay, so it's quixel.com. I can share here in the messages.
Yeah, and they have a YouTube channel where they just explain lots of post even post processing concepts, post processing samples, because if you just try to replicate what they do, you'll get the same effects that they do. So it's just like
Mm,
that. Most of the times when I want to change the post processing, or when I want to get uh, a specific look, I just go and try to search something related to post processing, and then I try to replicate that options, because they did it the same. They tried for some hours and they experienced it. They explored all the options, and then they have come to a conclusion which they share with you, share the whole result. So you can just go and um, use the whole result. So, anyways.
okay, is this under bridge or mixer? I can share the page just
Uh,
really quick.
yeah. Is it in YouTube?
Uh, no, it is yeah, I'm here.
So they
It's
have
in
they have a
broad.
YouTube. Yeah, they have the YouTube channel and they have
Ah,
every.
okay, so in YouTube they have okay, so they don't have anything downloadable as
Every.
solution.
Yeah, they are either in Marketplace, Unreal Engine Marketplace, or in Breach.
Okay, okay, got it, got it, got it. Okay,
Yep.
um, we send live back your screen. Yeah, let's go back to this.
Okay, so dirt mask is something that you usually don't use. It's literally what it's called. So there will be some dirt on the camera. Where you look at the light, those dirts become obvious, and when you just look back, there will be no dirt on the camera, on the lens. So you won't ever use this in ArcViz, because unless you want everything to be dirty and more realistic, maybe. um
Mm.
so we have lots of options for camera, actually. And if you don't like the regular options for camera, you can just, I mean, what shutter speed is, what ISO is, aperture,
Hmm.
maximum aperture number of, I mean, actually these are all searchable in Google, and these are not related to what we are discussing here. These are related to photography, and these are really complicated stuff. So if you want to know more about them, you can just go ahead and search them out. I won't explain them, but I'm just explaining this, that if you go to your character, you have this camera here, right?
Yeah.
So this is the normal camera that the Unreal Engine uses, but if you don't want this camera, you have the option to type kind cinema camera and use kind cameras, and instead of follow camera. You can just delete follow camera
Okay.
and then use this one.
This
Um,
is very. We can jump this part with very. I mean, out of the crash course
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
scope
true, true. Yeah,
too
true. But
much.
yeah, I just wanted to tell you that there are lots of. I mean, the cinema camera is an actual camera, an actual DSLR or any other camera. So if you want to use it, you have the ability as well.
Okay.
Where was it? Post processing. Okay, lens flare is this one. So
Yep.
I mean, if you don't like it, you can just set it to 0. If you like it very much, you can set something to like 1,000 maybe. Okay, so really doesn't make sense that much to use lens flares in ArcViz, but if you do want to use it, you have the option to change the color, or maybe you want the bokeh to be more realistic. Maybe this is more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
This is much better. Or if you want to change the type, change the look of these shapes, you can enter a texture, a shape. I mean, you can search this all out in Google, type bokeh shape texture, and you can get pretty incredible stuff, and then you can just go ahead and import them into the engine, which I explained before how to import it into the engine, and then just drag them on here and you will get your new texture. But the lens flare will be not that complicated as the films you use. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the film called Transformers. There are lots of blue lights, blue lens flares here and there. I mean, they use lens flares a lot.
Mm.
So
They
those,
have a name in photography. I believe it's the same in cinema. When blue and uh, yellow they separate apart. Don't get now the name, but anyhow, it's an effect of the camera. So with the flares, you are simulating a multiple lens camera, which is having some glitch. But this glitch is what we are accustomed at when we are looking at the movies, and this gives
exactly.
this movie effect of wow, I'm in a Hollywood thing or on a Bollywood one.
Yeah, it's
So
actually the same in games.
yeah. So this is this thing that we believe that is uh, I'd say human perception. It's not. It's just the camera. It's just the
Uh,
camera artifact.
yeah, exactly. So it's
Physical camera artifact. So this is just replicating a physical uh, object artifact that has. But yeah, but it's very cool because it gives this feeling. Yeah,
yeah.
let's go on.
Exactly. I wanted to tell you that if you want those effects, those are different. Those are not post-processing volumes. Those are particle effects, which is complete something completely else. Um, you can
Mhm.
download them from Unreal Engine Marketplace, though, but I believe you have to buy them for some extra dollars. I'm not really sure.
Okay,
But
let's keep
anyways,
the gadgets. We go forward. We have lots of things to see
yeah, image
yet.
effects are, I mean, you should be experiencing with it all, because if you just set them to something else, you
This
can
is vignetting. Yeah,
exactly.
vignette. It's,
So you can pretty much guess what it is. I guess this depth of field won't work. Yeah, it shouldn't work this way, because if you want the depth of field work, you need to be having a true camera, like a cinema camera. This,
kine,
yeah, exactly.
kine. Yeah.
So color grading, which, I mean, you are familiar with it. I'm not gonna. This is just the temperature, as you told me. This is in Kelvin. the
Hmm.
tint if you want to change anything, the shadows, the global light, color grading. I mean, you have the option to change them all. But as I told you, if I want to change these, if I want to change them like a bit, I would do that. But if I want to change the look of my scene drastically, I would definitely go search it out in YouTube, in Quixel's YouTube, or in Google, or anywhere else actually to find a proper look for my game. So yeah, it also saves all the time.
And it's not bad.
No, it's perfect actually. So yeah, these are related to color grading as well. So rendering features, you have the option to create a very complicated material because this is like an advanced thing. So you have the option to create, to attach a material to simulate a look for your post processing, which I'm not gonna get into it. It is really advanced. Uh, so the no, we don't want to use it. So ambient occlusion, which is really important. So we have the option of ambient occlusion. I'm just gonna show you how. So I'm not sure if you can. Yeah. So if you just look around here,
Yeah,
where two meshes collide, there is a black scene type of thing happening where
yeah,
if the intensity it is at 0, there is nothing. If it's at 1, or even something like, we don't do anything more than 1, there is a pretty little
hmm,
shadowish thing
yes,
happening
yes,
here.
yeah,
So this is actually a screen space effect. So if you are not seeing the mesh itself, you will not be seeing the ambient occlusion effect as well. This is kind of to something to fake the indirect lighting, and it's pretty old. It's like 10 years old, this effect, I mean.
hmm,
So you have the option to change it as well. If you are using a baked lighting, I mean, you won't need this because it's already baked in the texture maps. But if you are using a dynamic lighting, dynamic sunlight, because as I told you, we are using foliages. And when you are using foliages or
yeah,
incredibly big cities, you don't want to go and use static lighting. The way to do that is to use movable lights. Static lighting mostly gets used for interior scenes, like very tiny scenes that are not that heavy to process.
okay,
So, where was it? Post process volume. So this is the ambient occlusion. You have the option to change it. We don't have any ambient occlusion on mobile though. And these are, I mean, ray tracing has lots of reflection and lighting features. So ray tracing has ambient occlusion as well. If you want to, you can enable that as well. But at first, you have to enable ray tracing in your project settings, or ray tracing, global illumination. This is another thing that I'm not gonna go into it. But global illumination is, in general, it's indirect lighting. So as I had told you before, we have a direct lighting and we have an indirect lighting. Direct lighting means that the light is coming to the mesh directly,
hmm,
but indirect lighting means that it goes and hits a surface and bounces back to your mesh,
yeah,
or maybe it bounced back some thousands of times, I don't know. But this global illumination is just a way to fake the indirect lighting, and you have to enable it in the project settings, which is, I mean, it's not useful for ArcViz. So motion
not
blur,
useful.
no, because it's for game. It's a cheap effect. If you want, I mean,
Hmm,
if it's really cheap, really. It's just a way of faking things, and this is what we do in games, not in high quality ArcViz projects. In high quality
okay,
ArcViz projects, we either use static lighting or ray tracing, or maybe I don't know if you want to go ahead and use this global illumination. um you have to set some things in the project settings, but it's not
Okay,
that big a
so
deal. It
so
doesn't
this
make
is more for the very extended areas where you cannot
exactly. This
treat
is
the
really,
whole area because it's too much to follow.
yeah, and this stuff, this concept is really complicated, so you need to know what you're looking at. It's like you have the light coming from there and it hits this surface around here, and it reflects the light of or the color of the surface from here to the ground underneath. uh
Hmm.
yeah, it just adds a another layer of realism to the scenes, just like that.
Okay.
Anyways, we have the motion blur. So if you just turn the camera around you in the game, actually, so you have motion blur applying to the whole screen. But if you set it to 0, you don't have any motion blur. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's like shutter speed's gotten high, so you don't have any
Okay.
motion blur. And you have other options like target FPS, maximum motion blur, which you will have to go experience it for yourself. Uh, this is something else related to global illumination as well, which we'll not go into. These are really complicated. And we don't have ray tracing reflections, which we're not going to use. It's already set on screen space reflections. This is the if you want to use ray tracing, you have to set the ray tracing enabled in the project settings. And these are path tracing, not at all. These are all ray tracing features. So
Oh
it's like,
yes.
yeah, it is so similar to V-Ray settings. So these are the maximum bounces that you can have. I mean, 32 is a lot. I mean, these GPUs are really powerful these days. Um,
How many? It's 32
yeah, it's
bounces.
on default. It's on 32. You can have it
Mm.
more, like
Hmm.
a
Hmm.
thousand. MISC is screen percentage. It's like something like the resolution. So if I just put it to 10, it was already on 100. Yeah, it is creepy. Uh, so it only renders 10% of the screen. And if
Hmm.
we put it into 50, it will render 50% of the screen.
Okay.
And if
Is this to make it quicker the tests? What's the
uh,
idea?
optimization.
Okay.
And we are right now, we are running the game at full HD. If we want it to render as twice, we can just go ahead and put 200, which you will not see the changes that much, but it's higher quality and it is
Hmm.
different. So most of the times you may want to set it to something like 150, 160. Maybe if you have a very powerful GPU, 200, 300, I don't know.
Hmm.
So this is something to
Okay.
keep in mind. The priority is literally the priority. So if you are having some uh, post processings, you can set their priority up into each other. So nothing else. Enabled is if it is enabled. I've already explained this, and that's it. So let's head over to our next thing, which is,
Yeah.
so let's head over to project settings. We are um, entering into the realm of packaging the project right now.
Oh yes.
Yeah, first of all, okay. So first of all, we need to specify which hardware we are going to target. So for
Hmm.
now, for most of the ArcViz projects I've ever seen, it's set to desktop console maximum quality. But if you want to, I mean, it's like a headache. It's like a completely another way, uh, another thing, another job. It's complete another job to uh, ship to package your whole project into mobiles, because mobiles are like really, really weak. So you don't ever want to go that way. But if
Mhm.
you ever want to go that way, you can get help from Google, pretty much. So this is the whole target project that we're going
Mhm.
to have. So before packaging the project, we need to come here, edit project settings, which I've already opened. So starting off with description. So this is just a project, just a description, nothing really important. If you have a copyright notice, you can fill it out. Uh, you can code it out. VR is virtual reality, the VR headsets. So if you wanted to start
Okay.
with VR, you can check this one out. I mean, nothing really important. You can specify the project name, version. You have all the things here. Gameplay
I
tags.
mean, these are VR goggles. It's important out of the others.
Oh,
If you
yeah, but
flag this, you will have two images, one
uh,
left, right,
no,
eye.
no, no,
How is
no.
it?
It's different. VR
Oh,
VR headsets like Oculus Rift, Oculus
yeah,
Quest,
yeah.
HTC Vive. I mean, I'm not really sure how they handle uh, processing the whole image, but it is only available when you have the VR on your headset, on your face.
Of course, yes.
Hmm. Um,
But you package flagging this in order to have this product for
yeah, it's
uh,
one of the options. And
goggles.
yeah, you can do it in code as well. It's one of the options to have it
Okay.
started this way.
Okay.
So the next, this is really important, maps and modes. We've already, as you can remember, if you can't, just again go back and watch the other episodes. I guess it was in episode 2. We've already overridden the game mode, so we are now using the third person game mode. But
Yep.
right now it's set on ArcViz game mode. It doesn't really matter because we've already overridden it. But you have the option to change the game mode from here as well. It's exactly what you have in here in world settings, and
Mhm.
this is pretty important. It says editor startup map and game default map. So this is what you want to work with when you start up the engine. So if you have like 10 maps and you've created a, most of the times this is not the case in ArcViz really. If um, if you have a main menu and if you want to switch from main menu to another map, then it will be your case. But most of the times you won't ever need this. But don't forget to make sure that these are set correctly. Otherwise, there will be times that where you package your game and then you start your game and then there's nothing, or everything is just wrong. That's probably because you
Mhm.
haven't set this one out.
Okay.
And these are for local multiplayer game instance. This is really advanced, so you don't need to know anything about it. Movies. You have the option to play a movie, a startup movie. In that case, you can hit this plus and then search and then
To
attach.
bake in a screen, like to create a kind of a screen that projects a movie, like take
Yeah,
a YouTube movie download and put it on a TV monitor inside your something like
no,
that, or
no.
I
Those are
didn't
different.
get.
Those are really different. This is like you have a logo of your company and you want that logo to be at the very first beginning of your whole game. So this is where to put it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like when you play the game, the logo of Caliset, the video of the logo of Caliset will be played, and then when the
Okay.
video ends, the whole
So
game starts again.
in like corner
No,
of
no, the whole picture.
the whole picture. Okay. Okay.
This is what the startup movies are for. If you
Okay.
want to,
Got
if
it.
you
Got
want
it.
to
Got it.
put the movie to another place, that's done with, oh, it didn't save it. That's done with the user interface and widget blueprints.
Other
And
thing.
then,
Okay.
and again, you
The-
have to search for it, because if I want to
No, we don't get in it. No, we don't get in it. Okay. It was for a presentation, this project movies. Okay.
Exactly. So after that, we're gonna go. I mean, packaging is just too much right now. Supported platforms. Right now, we're supporting all the
Mhm.
platforms. You can just go ahead and deselect most of them. I guess we're not going to support Android, HoloLens, iOS, Linux, Lumen, Mac, tvOS. Yeah, we're just going to support Windows 64-bit, and maybe we don't want this as well. But anyways, I don't want to deselect
Okay.
it and then run into a
Is
bug
is
or anything.
is this creating more likely a bug if you have more compatibility
No, no,
anyhow,
no, no, no. It's
or
just the way.
weight?
No, it's just a way to manage the project. That's all.
Okay.
To know that okay, this specific version of the project is specifically for Windows or for Android. This is pretty usual
Mhm.
between game development teams because most of the time one team is working on PlayStation, one team is working on Xbox, so they should know that this project is not for Windows or for anything else. It
Maybe
should
there
they
is some coding that it differs in between them. I mean,
every
some C++
uh, uh,
stuff.
uh,
No,
um,
not that much.
I mean, it's just the way to manage things. It's not
Okay.
related to the engine itself. So let's head over to the packaging. This is,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's put it to the end because this is the very important part. So, oh, if you come here, you have lots of options. I don't want you to go through them all. These are really complicated stuff. If you
Yeah.
want to, you can go check out the input, but I mean, it's not that important. You already have all the things that you need.
Presets. There are all populated with presets, so it's
Exactly.
always that you go just for refine if you know what to take, what to move.
Yeah, you can
Is
change things,
this?
and I've already explained this in one of our episodes. I guess it was
Mhm.
episode one. Yeah, you can change things, you can create things, but anyways, and you have the rendering options where you can go ahead and try for yourself. These are just a lot of concepts. I'm not gonna explain them. It's just for rendering options. You can again you can search them out. These are really important. This is why I'm pointing them out to give you some key points to search for yourself and maybe explore more and learn more. All the way down, because right now our target platform is Windows. All
Yeah.
the way down on the platforms in Windows, you have the game icon.
Oh
So
yes.
yeah, and it should be in .ico as you can see. So and it must be in 256. So the way to do that, I mean, you need to have an icon because when the when they want to double click on the icon, you don't want Unreal Engine icon to be shown to the people. So you just better go and create an icon and create the icon
Mhm.
in PNG. And there are websites, just Google PNG to ICO, and there are online websites to convert the
And
PNG
ICO, it's a
file.
format. I don't know that. It's
It's icon format.
icon format. .ico. Okay, good to know.
Yeah, and there are lots of converters online that you can use.
Brilliant.
Okay, packaging. So, use pack files means that it will pack everything. For example, if you are having a video in your game, um, it won't be accessible through the files that are being used by the user. So they all will be encrypted somehow. So it's not like you have a
Mhm.
video in a movie or some asset in your game, and they can just copy that assets from your files and put them somewhere else. Because
Okay.
this has always been the case in games. I remember I was able. I mean,
Mhm.
we all were able to pull anything we wanted from the code from the game, from the files that they gave us.
So
So
it's
if
a copyright shield.
Yes,
this.
somehow maybe you have some music that you wanna protect. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, that's very
Uh,
important.
yeah, these two, if you're using another version, shared material native libraries and share
Hmm.
material shader code must be checked, because in this case the final size of the project will be less. Okay, so there's a button here, just click it. So the first thing that we are going to do is just cook only maps. Just check this one out,
Hmm.
because there are lots of assets in the editor that we haven't used, that we are not ever going to use, and we don't want them to be inside the game. I mean, they
Uh-huh. Okay, maps, it means the one which are applied. So everything that is just in the library, it stays out of the exe file.
exactly. So we are having this
Mm.
level here and everything within it. So we will be just cooking. This is what they call it. We will be just cooking the whole level, not everything that we have here. In that case, the whole game. In this case, the whole game would be like 3 GB, but in this case, it's like, I don't know. We'll see, but it's much less than that. Um.
Mm.
So is her content okay? Check this one for sure. Okay, this is related to movies. So um if you want to exclude movies to this is for protecting your content, you have to specify the movies to package as well, to move them to that protector, that
Oh.
which is not something that you would want to use, but uh this is important. Since we applied these cook only maps, we have a list of maps to include in a packaged build, which is already at 0. In this way, it won't package anything. So we have to
Mm.
specify what map what we'll be using. So exterior map is, where was it? I don't have any idea. We need to know where it exactly was. So first I have to find it.
Okay,
So
but
just
to find in the hard drive.
yeah, and there's path, game, archives, projects, levels.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's written in there. You can see it, right? So this is the way to find it. uh archives, project, levels, and exterior. We want this exterior to be baked. And I mean, I'm not seeing that option here. Oh yeah, this is it. So this, I mean, based on your version, it might be unchecked. Just make sure that you have checked something called create compressed cooked packages, because it will like halve the whole size. Like if the package size is like 2 GB, just checking this option will make it
Mm.
like 1 or 1.1 GB. So this is really brilliant and efficient. Then in the project tab, we have the build configuration. um, there is this, most of the times I haven't seen testing and debug work. I'm not sure if they ever work. They just fail to
Mm.
compile. I'm not sure why. We either use development or shipping. So what development is, um, right now when you play the game, you have the option to reach the console. It's the key
Okay.
on the keyboard, just next to one, just left to one. I don't know what it
Hmm.
calls, but you have the option to access to the script. So maybe I
Okay.
just wanna, I don't know. I can't remember any code right now, but you can pretty much, you can there are lots of documentations about it. You can it's mostly for debugging. You can use all of these
Okay.
scripts, see
And
what's
you
happening inside the game and what's not happening.
and you don't want to show this to the user, to the end user.
Exactly. So this is the option that you are having in development mode, but you don't have in shipping mode.
Okay, so you want to be on shipping, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I've already packaged my project and it was set to into development mode.
Okay,
And
this
in
is to share with a colleague development mode.
it's just for testing. Yeah, exactly. And shipping mode takes more time to package, and it's the size will be less definitely. And full rebuild. So if it's just it has lots of hints for it, but most of the times this is not really useful, but just try to check this one out. But right now, for the sake of the tutorial, because I have tried to package the game the first time because I knew that it would take a lot of time, and it took like 45 minutes to compile lots of shaders.
Yeah.
It takes time to package the project the first time, definitely. As it loads the project the first time, it takes time. So I've already compiled the shaders needed for development, and I haven't done it in full rebuild. So if you want to package the game, just check this on shipping mode and full rebuild on. So we're just gonna, for the sake of this tutorial, we're gonna go this way. And then just come here. If you want to package the whole project and you are sure that you have set everything correctly, just come here into file, package project, and Windows 64. They don't support Windows 32 anymore.
And okay, yeah, we could expect that.
Yeah, so I've already packaged the project before, and as you can see, the size is 1.12.
Okay.
And yeah, and it can get up, I mean, it can get less. Let's see. So we're just gonna try to package, and you have this thing here. You always want to check the output like. So if it's completely white, it's all good. If it's yellow, if there's something yellow, it's a warning, which most of the times doesn't do anything to you. It's just a warning which just points out that there is a problem in somewhere. You can, if you want to, you can go and fix. um but if there is a red text,
You
then
need to take care of.
exactly, then that's the hint for you to go and search for it and see what's happening, and then it can't build the game. It just fails. It didn't happen for me to that the project fail. It didn't fail actually, so it was pretty smooth. I didn't really expect that. I expected a lot of errors, which really
Are
didn't
you
happen.
scrolling, or is this the
No,
packaging that is
it's writing
implementing?
things. Yeah, it's writing things.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, the common practices are, if you are packaging for the first time, there are some prerequisites for packaging. I guess you need some Microsoft applications, which if you don't have the applications needed for packaging, if you just go and choose the packaging in here, if you just come here and say I want to package for Windows, it just wouldn't package. It just opens a website for you, web documentation from Unreal Engine to guide you how you can go around in this packaging, because apparently you don't have something in here, and that lack of something,
Some
uh,
software to install.
exactly, there are some prerequisites. So make sure to go ahead and yeah, you see there are some warnings here.
Yeah.
So it's just I can go ahead, and it's maybe, I mean, a dependency. I can just go ahead and investigate what's happening there, but since it's just a yellow warning,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that important.
Okay.
So so this is right now, this is working. So for now, let's, for example, I'm having a I want to try to explain how you can actually read this code written in here. So if you just
Hmm.
try to see here, there's this path on my hard
Yeah.
drive, which is just a path. So this is the hint for you. This is the cue for you to, uh,
The Google thing.
yeah, the Google thing. So just fail to load something, can't find file. So that's something.
Okay.
I mean, this is not Googleable for sure.
Yeah, okay. But maybe UE4 can't find file in between inverted commas, quote unquote, and
Yeah,
then
this.
error, and maybe Google will find something. And then there is written, it's very tiny here, the preview, but it's game assets, widgets, and maybe you Google these two and you will find
Yeah, when the engine can't find anything, it may be a better idea for you to go to that path and try to find the asset for yourself. But it was never saved as an. Oh man, so we can just stop it like this. So it's saying that datasmith content materials this important, but it was never saved as an export. So this is just a warning. As long as it's not read, we don't care. But
Mhm.
you can just come here and try to read things, and then maybe so the asset will be loaded, but maybe incompatible. So the package is complete. And maybe you can just copy and paste it here and type UE4, and you will get
Mhm.
lots of results. Pretty much the results are mostly from forums.unrealengine.com or answer.unrealengine.com, which I'm not seeing here, or
Mhm.
Reddit. Reddit is just beautiful for some.
Reddit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's already packaged, the whole project. And most common practices when it comes to failure of packaging is that when you come here to your project folder, there are some folders that you are seeing. So
Mhm.
um, the saved and intermediate folders, most of the
Yeah.
time when you are facing an error, these two folders are responsible for it. So you can just go ahead and delete
Okay.
these two.
Okay.
Just hit delete. Since right now I'm having the whole project open, so I can't delete it. Just close the project and then delete these two.
Delete.
It actually deleted it. I didn't want that to happen. Okay, so no problem. But remember, and most of the time, yeah, you have the option to delete binaries as well. But uh, I mean, if it specifically tells you that there's a problem in binaries, you have the option to delete binaries as well. But remember, binaries saved and intermediate are not uh, important in in the folder in the project, so you can simply delete them most of the times.
Okay.
I mean,
Weird but true.
yeah, I haven't seen an incident that where these folders are needed, or in any case these folders were nothing but only headaches for me most of the times. So let's just
Okay.
go ahead. I guess yeah, test. I have lots of test folders. So yeah, this is right now, as I told you, it was around 1.2 gigabytes, I guess. But
Yeah.
with the optimizations we did, it's now,
557.
yeah. So this is the importance of setting the project settings correctly. And this is the little icon that you will be having. Just let's double click on it. Um,
The ISO. No. Oh, the dot. What was the extension name again? The one from PNG.
uh,
I
ICO, yeah, ICO.
ICO. Mm.
So this is the game that we packaged, and it's now running on my PC without the need
Mhm.
for Unreal Engine 4. So I want to talk about a little
So
bit
the
about.
chat you can send to anybody. It's just clicking and then it will go through. Uh, I tested once to open this, and it took me several minutes to get into the no what it was. I had to install a number of things in order
Oh,
to play, but maybe I haven't packaged the thing on the right way. Well,
oh,
I have downloaded something. No, it was this. I have downloaded from internet an UE4 package
mhm.
of an exe, and it was in a form of a zip file, unzipped. Then I've launched the exe file and it installed the engine before, and then it let me and all the tools necessary tools, and then let me play the game. But in your case, it just poof,
Oh
went
yeah,
in.
because it's because you're not playing any games, right?
Yeah, because in that computer I didn't have any player. No.
So yeah, so it's yeah, if you want to run any game actually, and most specifically run UE4 games, you will need to download some prerequisites. And for me, I am
Okay.
developing with this PC, but I am playing with this PC as well, so I have all the prerequisites installed.
So if I have a Virgin computer, it will take several minutes to
You have
install
to
the prerequisites.
exactly, you have to download some things, and it's always the case for all the games. You will need some prerequisites.
Okay, this will have to face then a loading phase in which it will automatically save some software in.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about the collision issue, which I talked a lot about it. I want to point out that this is really, really important. Uh,
Because
I,
now we are not colliding, we are going through as ghosts.
exactly. They have no collision at all. And right now, the user must have the ability to exit the game, right? So I've just specified that I wanna quit with the escape button, and
How it is this? How do you specify this? And most of all, is it not a preset, this quitting?
no, you
Oh,
have the
really?
yeah, you have the ability to specify it yourself. You have to create
Damnation.
it yourself. Yeah, it's just I just typed escape, which is the escape button, and then I just typed quit game. Yeah, it's as simple as it and
Oh.
uncompiled. And it just means that when you press escape or when you release escape, it will quit the game or quit to the background. It doesn't really matter. And if you are having a multiplayer game, you can specify which player to quit the game. Um,
Hmm.
collision, yeah, that's really important. So right now we are having these meshes. If we just double click on them, we can see that there is no collision, but there is a complex collision which we don't want to use. So just come at this collision and add I don't know, maybe a simplified collision. But
Okay, this in case I don't want to go up through this staircase. If I want to go through the staircase, I need the complex one, right? In order
exact
to feel step after step after step. So the camera is doing doom, 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 doom with a dangling head at every step. The shoulder does this.
oh yeah, you I mean that's really complicated. Let me show you how it goes. If we want to use the complex one, we just come here and in collision complexity use complex collision as simple.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
Yeah. So,
yeah, there are some staircases for sure, but this is the problem that when, I mean, it's an IK problem. It's getting really complicated. These are some animation problems, but since we are, I mean, it didn't save. We've created a material for it which had no
Mhm.
opacity. It was completely transparent. So we didn't have any character, so we don't have this issue. But if you want the character to uh, stand exactly on the staircases, the IK is to go for it. Just search IK in UE4, and then you'll have to learn a lot of animation stuff.
IK.
Yeah, yeah. And IK, and maybe you will have to go through some animations in movements and some blending animations. I mean, it can get
And
really complicated.
this in order to go over the staircase. No, maybe this to dangle a little. What do you, maybe we are not saying the
You,
same thing.
yeah, maybe I know exactly what you're saying, and it is complicated. It may not sound complicated, but it is complicated. This is the
Okay.
problem that the games have been having for like, I mean, like 10, 15 years. There are lots of plenty of games which are trying to come up with a new idea about staircases, but eventually it all goes to the IK. IK is the best option to do it, and you can't
Okay.
have the this option unless you specify it through the code, which will be pretty complicated. That
Mhm.
okay, you can have two IKs here. IKs are something are like, the characters have bones, and the
Yeah.
IKs are like they control the bones. So you can have two IKs around here, and you can specify the IKs if the I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to explain the concept. If the
Hmm.
foot is on this staircase, then this shoulder, this IK will go up, and then it will go down
Okay,
into this
now
staircase.
it's clear. Now it's very clear. So in this way, it will just step up, but without dangling, and it's fair enough.
Uh,
And yeah, but that is going up. What we want at that stage is just the character going up. And I didn't get why the character didn't jump into the air at the end of the staircase. Is this just that it drove
no,
back? If you
it
go over, will it jump, boom,
yeah,
and
yeah,
land? Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, 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 okay.
And this
Well,
is a pre-built. If the character is in the air, the animation will change. So these are the
mm,
things that, let me show you the animation blueprint. So there's a whole blueprint for it. So I believe that I've already shown you this in our last session. So this is the whole, I mean, it's like a logic. So this is only for idle and run, and if this happens, then it will go into the jump state, and if this happens, it will go to the next state. This is what they call it, animation state. So this is, I mean, this is pretty simplified. This is pretty simple. They can
mhm.
go really really complicated. um
And you
they,
have
they
it by default.
Uh, you can create it from scratch. It's not that hard.
But if you open a new game, you don't need to do that. It's a default blueprint.
Yeah, well, if you just you have the option to create a new project, right? And you will be asked if you want to add any of these feature packs inside your project.
Mm,
All of them are different. So vehicle is completely a different game. Its character setup is for vehicles. Virtual reality is it really it even doesn't have any character. It's based on something else, and the code is completely different.
uh-huh.
So vehicle advanced is yeah, I mean, these are all different stuff. If you want to use the pre-built setup, you can go for it.
Now we are using first person. Okay.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
this, it comes inside the first person. So you have all the basic tools to move around without resetting everything. It's a preset. Okay.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Exactly. I mean, you have lots of options to go with. I mean, it doesn't mean that what I said is the only option. or maybe in some years is the best option, it could always go and be like the worst option, because technology is always evolving, and there
Yeah,
are
this is an
always
engine. Yeah.
and it the engine is always progressing like every day. So there are always new features coming in out. Yeah. So the next thing that I wanted to specify to explain is, um right now we're at 555, which is great. I'm actually saying this is great. But if you want to go optimize the size and make it like, I'm not sure if we, I guess we have the ability to go and get to something like 200, 300 megabytes. You can do it
Hmm.
to, you can go to the project that you're having and go to the saved. Oh, thank God I didn't delete it. I need it now. So saved does have all the informations that are saved.
Yeah.
So so if you just delete the saved, you have to do them one more time. So it's like
Hmm.
it's like a log. So you can
Okay.
see what's happening inside the project. So saved, cooked, and these are the whole things that we cooked for the project. And as you can see, it's a little bit more than what we've achieved. I guess
Not that
it's
much.
yeah, it's the engine compression. It compressed it a little bit. So the first thing is, go to the plugins. There are lots of plugins that we are not using, and we can
Hmm.
just change the size. And 5 megabytes of this, the whole package is for a plugin. If you just come here, edit plugins, uh speed, yeah, speed 3 imported. This is pretty, and a pretty old, I would say, technology. No one really uses it that much, because it's about, it's another application where
Mm.
you can create trees for yourself and then import them directly to Unreal Engine. I mean, it's been like 6 years that I haven't used this technology. But anyways, and we haven't used this in our project.
Okay, you can unflag. So,
Yeah, unchecked. Exactly, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. So you can just come to the plugins and remove anything that you don't want.
so this is a very violent and direct way to dry your folder.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, right? I mean, most of the times we are limited by the size. I mean, 500 is okay. It's actually great, but in a real project where you have lots of assets, it could simply, it could go up to 2 gigabytes, 3 gigabytes so fast, and sometimes it could even go higher than 10 gigabytes. Uh,
Okay, by via PC, what's I mean, uh, average computer? What's the limit that you suggest? Apart the downloading time, which it might imply that your downloader person is not willing to wait uh, one afternoon to download the whole thing. But is there any limit that you experienced in size?
um,
Like
there are
rule of thumb. Okay, like never go over 20 gigabytes. No, never, because
it
there is a ratio between computer power, RAM, uh, video card, and so.
so yeah, these are pretty complicated stuff. If you're talking about RAM, then eight gigabytes is like, I would say the maximum. But I mean, the optimization, I mean, there are plenty of techniques to optimize your game, to unload assets from your RAM, to make some room for other assets to get them into the
Hmm.
RAM.
Hmm.
So I've seen games with 200 gigabytes on Windows. So that's
Oh,
pretty
really?
possible. Yeah, and they are doing it with a lot of optimizations, because they have to load and unload a lots of things and lots of
Hmm.
loading
Hmm.
times. And with the power of SSDs, it's gotten really easy to play it for like me as a user. So I've seen it a lot, but I would say that don't ever go higher than 2 or 3 gigabytes, because people will complain about this size definitely.
Okay. Okay. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
yeah, unless you're like a big company and people would download what you publish in any way.
Okay. Okay. That is a good rule of thumb. Uh,
So it's not only about the plugins. You can come here in content and you have to go to all the folders, like go properties and see it's fine. Come here and it's 92 megabytes. Maybe you are fine with this much, and or maybe you want to go and see what's causing a problem. And this is what is like 4 megabytes. Just click rename, Control C, copy, and then come here, then
mhm.
paste it here and see what is causing. Where did it go? Okay, what is causing all of that size? So
Uh-huh. Okay, you check what it is that has this 4 MB size. This is very complex. Okay.
yeah, and you have to take the size down. You have to shrink it apart somehow. I mean, most of the times it's like exactly the saying of you gotta do what you gotta do.
Okay.
So let's see. Um,
And this
so
was pretty much, right?
yeah,
It was
we've
that
covered it all.
was.
Hmm.
We covered it all. Yeah. So, um,
Oh, I have to explain two more things.
okay.
We have the option in here to just search fog influence actors, and we have the exponential height fog. You can put it into the scene and go
Mm-hmm.
to the details. Yeah, we have the option for volumetric fog. So it's pretty low, I would say. Why aren't we having any fog in here? Okay, so I don't want to debug anything in here, but in a fresh project, when you use I mean, atmospheric fog is pretty old, but if you use
Mm-hmm.
exponential height, it will give you a pretty little height where you can change the details in the fog density and all and fog.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why this isn't doing what I'm telling it, but anyways. And you have the option to search clouds. I mean, we've already explained the HDRI, but if you want to make it more dynamic, you can just drag the volumetric clouds to the scene. So it will give you some
Mm-hmm.
really,
Very
uh,
nice. Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is the default preset. You can change them if you want to. Um, but this is pretty costly. So optimization wise, it's not as good maybe. So you can just delete it. And another thing
Okay.
would be water. So
So
there,
HDRI. Oh, okay. HDRI would be a better solution than that.
if you want it
Than
to be
Sky.
dynamic, and if you want I
No,
mean,
static. HDRI would be better than clouds.
so if you and yeah, definitely, you're right. So if you want water, there's a
That's it. That's important. Yeah.
if you want some rivers, some oceans. I mean, this is another system that you have to enable it. And
Mm-hmm.
again, I'm not going to enable it because it will compile lots of shaders. And you just enable it and then come here and type water, and there will be lots of waters. But it's not that simple. I again recommend you to go through all the documentations that they have, because
Mm-hmm.
it simulates lots of physics. It is really a good looking water, and it is in fact um, could be sometimes hard to use if you want to use something specific in it. But this is
Mm.
how you can use water inside the engine. Just simply enable the water and then come here and type water, and you will get lots of options for water.
Okay, that's project will have the need of water for there's the
Yeah,
Atlantic Ocean in front of us, so it's something this way. So I think that the ones this
I I
path.
you're cutting off. Do you have me?
Go up. So beam wise, BIM, then adding assets
So
on every floor so to populate.
you
But
you've been out for like a minute. You were cut
oh,
out.
I
Yeah.
was cut out. Okay, I will take it again. So
Mm.
yeah, thanks for getting this. So I said to our viewers that they can get parts of this uh, path of learning step by step. We will do um, other lives in which we will develop this project, and the people are interested. We will now gather the interest in that. Can write to hello@caliso.com, and so we will develop the whole project with the detailing of the floors and stuff. So to have also all the landscaping on every floor. Repeat, the skyscraper has this ivy, trees, and forestation on every floor, and make it the whole one. So we are waiting for your subscription. And yeah, that was everything for tonight, Mateza, right?
Yeah, exactly. We've luckily covered it all.
Yeah, very nice. I thank you for joining Caliso Network, this free meetings, and we will be in contact then for doing our guardian angel in this other steps, building the skyscraper and our little game. So thanks for joining, and uh, keep an eye on our LinkedIn page, on our YouTube, and you will get proper information how to start, when to start, and how it will be. Thank you so much.
Okay, great, great.
Bye. Good night to everyone.
Have a great night.
Bye
Bye.
from Caliswood Network. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you too. Bye.